Welcome, everybody. So we're going to see if this works. We are going to see if maybe the audio is working and if we can get Fate to come in here. Maybe he can relay off of his channel or into mine. I just want to make sure this is live. Just double checking here. Yeah, it looks like we're going. Just double checking here. Yep. All right, that's working. So we'll send a message. We should have invited people while we were in that chat, but I'll post it up here if anybody wants to come in. Yeah, I'm new to this, so bear with me for a minute. We are trying to figure out how this all works. This is my first time doing it on the computer. Okay, let's post it up here. All right, Chase Finn, looks good on my end. All right, cool. I've never done this before, so we're going to see if we can put this up. I think we can leave it on top like that. Okay. We got all kinds of things going on here. So, yeah, we got all kinds of popping up here. There we go. So you guys can enter if you want. Obviously, keep it relatively PC, right? Chase, do you watch Fate Trucking? If you're still in here, we're trying to get some viewers showing up in here. But yeah, he's talking about going over to Flatbed, which is what I do if you follow the channel. So I'd like to know, some people may think that's good. Some people may think it's bad. Chase, how's the audio? Can you hear me clear? But I guess it's a pretty big swing to jump over from reefer to flatbed. All right, cool. Sounds good. So usually I do something like this on my phone and I don't have a mic on or nothing. So, but jumping over from something like reefer to flatbed, I mean, you could run into some issues, I guess. You could run into it just walking into it. But, I mean, if the money's there, I don't see why you wouldn't. I see a lot of people talking about having like a market for it. And I live in Wisconsin. I haul out of Minnesota a lot. And I haven't seen really, I mean, just a little bit of a slowdown, but relatively no problems finding loads, even on the spot market. Excuse me. So, I don't know what you guys all do. If you guys truck or not, it's definitely a niche market. There's a lot of avenues to go down, flatbed, step deck, RGN. If you don't know what RGN is, a removable gooseneck. Some people call that low boy. That kind of goes into heavy haul. You need doubles and triples because you're doing that. You need doubles and triples when you have more than one fifth wheel. Load securement kind of becomes, it's kind of a problem sometimes. But I'm gonna send Link, or I'm gonna send Fate a link. See if he wants to jump in quick. Try to see if we could bump his his channel over, but he ended it too quick. We were going to send it over, and he could jump through my Wi-Fi and just read his comments. We'll see if he wants to. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we sent him Jerome Jones, new subscriber. Welcome. Thanks for joining, man. I didn't get, like I was saying earlier, I didn't get the link over in time. I was going to tell Fate he could come on over. We bounce off. I'm at home on the Wi-Fi. So Jerome Jones, so you've done Flatbed. I put the link up. You should be able to get it if you want to pop in, if you got time. I think you just bought a dry van, correct? So if you've done Flatbed, you're kind of in that market going back and forth. You're able to see that. How long ago did you do Flatbed? I know I did it for a while when I first got in. When I first started trucking, I did Flatbed. And then I did the company that I first started with was like a mom and pop. And they had flatbeds, reefers, dry vans, and that was it. They didn't have any RGNs or anything specialized. So I kind of bounced around. That's where I've done a little bit of reefer and stuff like that. And I didn't care for it, to be honest with you. I didn't like the 2 a.m. Deliveries. I didn't like the, hurry up and get to the shipper. Otherwise they're going to fine you. Even if it's out of your control, I think it's kind of a wish-washy thing to do that. So that's kind of the one thing I don't like about running reefers, and kind of that constant bouncing around and constant like chasing the tail. Yeah, that's a hard market to run. Jerome Jones was doing Conestoga for 4 months. So that's what we have now at the place I'm at too. And this was the first time I've ever ran a Conestoga. I had to ask him. I had no idea how to open it, close it, any of that. And even learning on this end that there's even multiple variations of that trailer and how that's, tightened up and stuff. I tell you what, you eat it a little bit for fuel mileage, but it's definitely, I will do that over throwing tarps any day. I mean, just to slide that thing back and secure it up and boom, drop the back door, away you go. The only downfall I found from Conestoga is when I'm on the spot market and I'm looking in freight markets, there's a lot of loads that are too heavy for a Conestoga. You got to take about 1,500 pounds to 2,000 pounds off. So like 46.5 is the max I can put on my Conestogas. And that limits you down in your markets big time. There's sometimes where you kind of with the broker, are you sure on this weight? Sometimes sometimes you can get away with it, but sometimes you can't. There's been many times that I've been out in a crappy area and I'm on a load board and I'm looking at a load that I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. And I'm looking at flatbed. I'm looking at flatbeds. I'm looking at, all sorts of other loads on the load board and calling every broker saying, hey, will this work with a Conestoga? And sometimes even the shippers, they don't even want to mess with a Conestoga because, maybe it's a long piece and they don't want to be able to try to work it and swing it inside. Yeah. All right, cool. He's going to try to come in. We'll see how it works. Let me get that link for him quick. I do multi-hull RV transport with a single axle Columbia. Do you, Chase? Do you know that's what I did before I got the semi? Were you following back then? Let me, I'll give you a minute to answer that quick while I get the link here. There's like 5 windows up right now. All right. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. So we're gonna bring him in. But Chase, yeah, that's what I did before I did this. I was doing RV transport. There's the man. How's your internet?
You might have me for a minute or 2 minutes. Who knows? I'm done trying to figure this crap out. How are you doing this evening?
Oh, we're doing good. We're just, hanging and banging, watching Fate Truck, and I don't know who that guy is.
Yeah.
I was watching that reefer guy, but
Yeah.
then I think it was that flatbed guy.
Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe buying a flatbed trailer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was very surprised to see that thumbnail when you put that on. I was going to send you the link before you got off the stream, and you bumped out too quick. I was going to say, hey, you could kind of jump off of my Wi-Fi if you wanted. Some of the guys are starting to come over. I was just talking to Chase Finn here, though. So I don't even know if you know about this. Before I got into flatbed and semi, I was doing hot shot RV transport. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but no, I didn't know that that's what you were, that's what you were doing.
Yeah, we did that for a couple of years. And that, you want to talk about a market going to hell in a handbasket. That thing dropped off super quick, to where like we were running so hard. As soon as you went out, as soon as you could get back, you had, 75, 100 loads to pick from. And it turned into like we were coming home with no loads available. And so we got out of that. So Chase, I didn't even know you were following from then. That's a long time. Man, thanks for staying around, man. It's quite a journey we're doing. But so what are you running? You're running a single axle Columbia. And I still see guys that are doing that today that are running, they're running T680 still, pulling the 53-foot trailers, and the backhauls. I still see them going back empty, and I don't know how they're doing that because our outbound haul was like $320 a mile, and which that's good money in a semi for these days, but not having a backhaul. I mean, I couldn't do that. You want to talk about deadhead.
Yeah.
Have you thought about that, Fate? I don't know how much you guys deadhead now in reefer. Is it
I don't get it.
It's not that much.
It depends where I am, man. I mean, I think the furthest I've ever deadheaded is maybe like 180 miles. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, but it makes sense to do that sometimes because I don't want to share too many details, but there's a load that I will deadhead 100 and I think it's like 157 miles to pick up, but it pays like $450 a mile to go to an area that then I get, a very good load heading out to the East Coast. So I could choose not to deadhead that 150 miles and actually make less money to get to the load that I want to take out to the East Coast. So the deadhead, like it averages out, you know what I mean? But
yep.
I typically don't deadhead very much.
Really? And that's kind of one of the things that I've struggled with too, is the big saying is if you're in a shit market, take whatever you can just to get out of that market. It's the average of the week, the average of the month, or whatever that matters. It's not the average of each single load.
Yes.
And that's, and that's kind of like this last trip, we talked about it on your live. When I went out to California, it was 6,500 to go out. And then I got $3,000 to come back to Illinois, which was, less than half of what we went out. So technically I was barely even, that was just enough to pay the fuel and just enough to pay a little bit to like my leasing company.
The backhaul?
Yes. Yep. But the reload we got coming out of St. Louis going up to Minnesota was almost as much as that load alone. So that bumped that week way high.
Yep.
That 2-week average is not that bad. That 2-week average was like 11.5. So, I mean, it's doable. I think, and I've expressed it on my channel. We kind of go through the numbers once a month. I got a spreadsheet that we go through that I created. And I created that when I was doing RV transport to keep track of my numbers when I was just getting into that, and that 11.5 is not too bad because I figured out that my nut to make is about 4,300 a week gross. And that's, that allows me to have a little bit of, that's covering my pay. That's covering, putting away in the escrow account and all that. So let me ask you, what sparked the idea to go into Flatbed?
Well, like I was sharing on my live before my internet went out, it's just an idea based on the current market we're in. And I know things get, for a long time, reefer's hot. So the market gets kind of saturated with people that want to go to reefer. Here's the thing, like the markets can handle that influx for a quick minute. But if the people that are in those markets don't do the work to get the like dedicated freight, well, then they're just going to move on to the next hot market. I am thinking about it from a standpoint of where I live is a great flatbed market from like the middle of springtime to November, right?
I said that earlier, right before you got on here. I haven't seen a downfall. I noticed in your channel, there was a lot of guys saying, Flatbed's going to pick up from this time to this time in my area. I pull out of, I don't know exactly where you're at, but I pull out of your area kind of. And every time I'm there, it's $4 load, $5 load going out, like this one here. I'm going to take off tomorrow. We go to Maryland, right by just south of Washington, D.C. And yeah,
want to come and pick me up?
It's like I think the town is called Capitol Heights or something like that.
Okay.
There's a big like belt line that goes around the whole Capitol there. It's like on the south side of there.
Okay.
That's paying almost $5 a mile to go there, and that's 2-day easy run, 500 miles a day.
Yep.
So I see a lot of guys wanting to jump and do that, and I understand that. Someone did make a comment in here about where was that? Did you know Jerome Jones did Conestoga and Flatbed?
No, I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
I didn't either.
Yeah, and
was that before he became an owner operator?
I'm not sure. We haven't gotten that far. I invited him in if he wants to jump in. But what was he saying? I've noticed, there is sometimes that guys will get out of dry van, and I think you and Cash are kind of chiming on one of them markets. I know exactly what you're talking about too. It's kind of amazing that it takes you that long to figure out that it's not working. The numbers aren't there. And
well, I'm not talking about one individual person. I'm just saying collectively, if you watch things on YouTube, you see a pretty common same theme.
Yep.
And I think that's where businesses need to make their decision. You can call me I'm not going to get offended. Like, you're a flatbed hauler. You shouldn't want me to do what I'm thinking about doing, which I respect. Because
become my competition.
Not really competent. Like, I don't have the skills you have. So, like, yeah, I mean, I get that. Yeah, you don't want it to be a competition thing, but I'm looking at it from a strategic, like, business standpoint. Like, I already own my equipment.
Yep.
Why not get more equipment that maybe if there's a downturn in something now, like building and, construction's already down this year. The permits haven't been pulled for houses because of our economy and things like that. But I'm looking at, like, right now in this moment, I wouldn't have to deadhead 1,200 miles home if I had a flatbed trailer.
Correct.
You
Correct. So all the equipment that you'd have to get, though. So do you own this trailer, your reefer trailer?
Yeah.
You do. So would that be something you sell or keep?
Hell no, I'm keeping that thing.
That's what I was going to say. Keep it as a backup, because if forever, say, you could say, I'm not going to flatbed in the wintertime. All summer long, you could flatbed if you wanted, and then when it's cold and you don't want to throw tarps, get in the reefer. I don't know how the reefer market is in the wintertime. Does that slow down? I hear you guys always talking about, like, produce markets and stuff like that.
Well, it depends on what market you're in. Like, where do you run? I happen to live in a region that for 7-8 months out of the year, well, not that long, like 5.5, 6 months out of the year, a lot of things have to be temperature controlled. And I live in an area, I live in Minneapolis, St. Paul area. So, like, reefer freight's huge in that market. In the lane that I run, that's the thing. I run one lane. You know what I mean? That lane stays pretty active year round. The problem is, if I choose not to haul customer freight, I'm not going to run for what I see on the spot market. I'm not going to do it. My time, I'm, like, more valuable than that.
Yep. And the other plus side here, I finally found it, was Aaron Yoder said that the flatbed market is completely flooded out right now. So don't get into it if it's not what you want to do long term. I could say yes and no, but there's a benefit to doing what you want to do, to being able to visit. I'm trying to think of the word, diversify. Have the ability to do flatbed. If the market's not there, have the ability to do something else. How tight are you on weights, though, was my other question, because the added equipment, you don't have to do a headache rack. I believe they removed that from law. So you can get away with that.
I would get one. I would get one anyways. But
would that affect your payload ability on the reefer, though?
Oh, I can take it on and off. And no, actually, so, like, believe it or not, the International that I purchased is much. So I didn't spec the truck at build. I spec the truck that I bought for hauling reefer freight. So it's a very light truck that I can haul, 46,000 pounds with a reefer trailer. That's a little bit above average. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My Mac, I was at like 43,000, because that truck was so heavy.
Nomadic Brit says, my friend does step deck. I'm wondering who that is. Says, yeah, I always assumed reefer was always busy because it's food. Yeah,
it's busy, Brit, but they've cut the rates. That's like, here, talk for. I'll explain my thought process here real quick.
Could you give a ballpark average on the rate?
So
I can tell you right now, what I'm averaging for all these months, all these weeks for this year alone is $2.33 a mile.
Okay. So I can speak on what I did last year. All miles last year, my gross revenue was $3.77 per mile. That was last year.
Okay.
And I ran,
which is awesome.
I ran under 80,000 miles last year. I didn't run a lot.
Really?
But so like leaving the market that I'm used to, here's a lane that I've ran before. Brooklyn Park, Minnesota to Hickory, North Carolina. I've ran that lane a lot. I ran it when the rates were through the roof and I got like $5,500 to go out there. And then I've ran it as the market softened a little bit and you're at like 35, 33. That's a good rate. That's still over $3 a mile. That same load right now is on the load board for $2,350.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do we think that is?
Here's
Because I
another
don't
one
see
for $2,600.
I don't see a huge market of people. I guess maybe, but I don't see a huge market of guys going out and buying reefer trailers. Really?
No, they're just beating up all the rates right now. You know what? Which here's the thing. Like rates are still like historically pretty damn good. So like let's take for example, if I took that load to North Carolina right now, here's another one on the load board. See, it doesn't make sense for me to do that. That load pays $2,600, right? To go from Brooklyn Park to Hickory, North Carolina. You're going to pick up on Monday, deliver Wednesday morning, probably like 2 a.m, right?
Yep.
I can take a load from Zimbrota, which is like by Rochester, Minnesota, to Indiana, running 500 miles and make $1,600. That's like $3 a mile.
Right.
It makes sense for me to take that Indiana load if I was just playing the spot market because it's more revenue. Like it's less miles, it's less wear and tear, no mountains, flat ground the whole way. I can make more revenue on that load. So what they've done is the shorter regional stuff is right around like $250 a mile, which is good. Like I'll haul that. But the long hauls, like I'm not going to drive all the way out there for $2,600 and then get stuck in a market that I'm trying to leave. That's only going to pay me $1.30 a mile.
Yep. And that's kind of what I've been trying to do as well lately. Like I was saying, the freight lane in the Midwest is so good right now that I can make more money and be home more instead of like this California one I just ran. You think that'd be awesome money, but it's not. You're gone for a minimum of 2 weeks. And coming back, you eat it so bad that I could have made more money staying out 2 weeks running around the Midwest, putting less miles on, and probably have been home that weekend, you know?
Well, so somebody left a quick comment real quick. I see Cheap Freight Hauler. Do you see that one? Because he's partially right, but so I've been in the reefer industry for like 17 years. It's not just that, man. It's the volume. Like the volume's just gone. The volume across the board is gone. So when I see that, like I know like the downturn and the soft times of reefer, but when I look at the volume just isn't there. And then I look at flatbed and it's 3-to-1 ratio compared to freaking, a saturation and no volume. Like
now these protect from freeze loads are talking like produce, right? Like onions and stuff like that.
All kinds of stuff.
All
kinds.
I've actually hauled onions on a flatbed before.
Yes.
And
freeze protect isn't something I haul a lot of. You know what I mean? A lot of my freight is fresh food, frozen food, or like fresh food. You know what I mean? So it has a temperature from like 34 to 40 degrees, or I have to maintain a certain degree, or it's frozen. My freeze protect, that a lot of that, if I haul it, it's usually alcohol or water or something like that. You know what I mean? Which the customers I deal with, I don't have to haul that stuff. It's just, listen, I've always had a plan of like expanding.
Yep.
Sorry, am I saying too much?
Nope. No.
I've always
boy.
had.
Oh boy, now you're in trouble.
Why? What happened?
Someone's here.
Oh, great.
DIY Semi says, "Who is this bum?" He's probably talking about me. We'll just keep going.
Well, I've just always had an idea of like expanding, and that doesn't mean adding trucks or. I just want to be versatile. That's what I want to do, and I think as a business, you need to be that way. Businesses adapt and change to the market that they're selling to, or the whatever industry they're in. They adapt and change to what, like, the market that they're in. How am I any different? I should do the same thing.
100%. If you can't adapt, you'll die in this business.
Huh.
You know. DIY's on fire tonight, huh? What's up, DIY? How was Matt's? I seen you guys were meeting up down there.
Yeah.
I was worried when all those storms were coming in. If you're on YouTube, do you guys get all them live meteorologist pages that pop up? And it looks like the world's ending, and all I see is like tornado warning, Paducah, Kentucky. And I'm like, okay, that's not that far. Kentucky's not that big. I mean, well, could you imagine if something like that let loose with all them show trucks there? I would bawl.
Just think of the insurance claims.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're concerned with DIY's well-being, as I'm out on the ground filming freaking tornadoes and you don't say shit to me about it. So good.
You got a hot tub to take care of those injuries. So speaking of that, I know it's been the weekend. Shop update on the truck. Are they working on the weekends or?
No. So part of my discontent, I guess, is where I'm from is a very different pace of life than where I currently am. And even the shops, like, they want to get you in and out as fast as possible. Mm-hmm. Here, it's definitely like more laid back. They don't seem to be as concerned when they call me at 4:30 in the morning, say, "Oh, we have to order a part. It won't be here until Monday." It's like, you waited until 4:30 to order the part? Like, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
But
yeah. I can imagine your stress level is just getting higher and higher every day. To be honest with you, I would be going stir crazy.
I'm really thinking of deadheading 1,200 miles home.
I was going to tell you that. I know you were saying that you weren't going to go home and you were just going to stay out and run. And I was going to say, I think the best thing to do. Yep. I'm listening. I was going to say, I think the best thing to do would be just go home, take a day or two, hit the reset button, and just kind of wash your hands of the ordeal and start over with it. I think that, because even being on the road, you've been gone for so long, you'd be stressed out pushing, trying to get home again. I
got things to do too. I have a meeting with my accountant. I have things that I need to do.
Yeah. Cadillac Jack's got a point. So that's one thing I mentioned before too, is I dabbled in the reefer game a little bit. And that's one thing I hated was a 3 a.m. delivery appointment, and that is kind of the thing with Flatbed. You're set 9 to 5. You got to be here. It's all basic business day hours. And if you can't be there by then, you can just cruise until the next day. You eat a little bit of time that way. But I've never had a receiver fine me $500 for being a couple hours late either, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things, first come, first serve. It's when you get there, usually,
I watch a couple of flatbed people on YouTube, I mean, including yourself, but I watch a few other people on flatbed YouTube or YouTube flatbed. And Like I said, it's just an idea. I'm not saying I'm doing it. It's just an idea. Just an idea.
Have you talked to the big man about this before you did this?
Block fake truck it.
You're reading. Okay, you're reading them as I'm reading them. Good. All right.
Yes. I don't want to share. Yes, I've had a conversation. I have had a conversation with the big man.
Because that was a good point. I don't remember who brought it up about carrying the insurance for that. I didn't even think of that. That being able to transfer over into that different a commodity. What would that entail in writing a new policy?
Yep.
Or
and here's, I mean, I can't speak. We're getting in a like. I've picked people's brains on it. Put it that way. This isn't like, oh, I'm doing it but yeah, if I'm thinking of something, DIY is one of my mentors in trucking in general. So if I have an idea, I talk to him about it. You know what I mean? Maybe not as a contractor, but as like a friend, or like, I bounce ideas off of him.
I think that's the more realistic way to do it, though. You kind of get a real feel of should I do it? Shouldn't I do it? Is it going to be a problem?
Sorry, I saw a comment that he posted.
DIY. I plan to cut his percentage in half. Attaboy. You can cut it in half because he's going to be making twice as much.
Nice. Right.
Maybe even 3 times as much. So, let's see. I'm kind of losing it here. DIY, please interview the empty chair. What empty chair is he talking about?
I got up and went and got my soda.
Oh. He needs a wrench so he can block. Yeah. Cadillac Jack, in 1 year, he's had about 3 appointments. Yeah. You get the couple here and there that are like, okay, yeah, you need to schedule an appointment. And sometimes they even have like my dispatcher from our office saying, as soon as you pick this up, you need to call because you need to schedule an appointment immediately. I call them, and the guys are like, yeah, just be here. What day are you thinking? I'm like, Wednesday. They're like, all right, well, we'll be here from like 8 to 5, whenever you get here. So you're just basically scheduling the day. So nothing too crazy. Chief Freight Hauler F8, something else to think about. The flatbed board looks better now than it should. A lot of flatbed are off the board because of seasonal work.
Okay.
Yes and no. Like I said before, I haven't seen enough of a slowdown to where it's affected me to where I've had to sit. Maybe, I'm looking a couple days ahead of time. As soon as I'm picking up, I roughly know when I'm going to be there. I'm on the load board looking. And if it's not there, usually, each market's different. I don't know how reefer is, but if it's some markets book day of and some markets book a couple days ahead of time, so each are different, but I haven't had to sit anywhere. DIY, I love to see little people throw chains. It amuses me. How tall are you, if you don't mind me asking? He might be slowing. Or you might be slowing down a little bit there. Yeah, we'll let your internet catch up. Chase Finn, DIY, even DIY. It's even better to watch them throw tarps and heavy wind up. I can tell you one thing. I am 6 foot, 220 pounds. Tarps are a pain in the butt in the wind, no matter how big or small you are. What's that? He's cutting out a little bit. We'll let the internet chill out for a minute. He'll come in.
Hear me?
We could start. We're getting the robot voice a little bit, but you're still hanging in there. Cheap freight hauler. Look at all the flatbeds hauling mulch, potting soil, and pavers to Lowe's and Home Depot in June when this is all over. All of them will be back on the board. So I haven't seen any. I don't know where that's at. If you could, can tell me where those are at.
Hear me?
We can hear you a little bit. It's a little choppy, but you're coming through. Um,
I'm
if I only have
5'10".
Barry Harberson, wow, the reefer flatbed guy. I don't know how that
I'm
works.
5'10".
Oh, you're 5'10"? But you're not that little then. Why is everybody saying you're that little? Let's see. I try to stay away from Home Depot Lowe's loads. Would that be one of those like click and go things? Do those get hauled on like a JB Hunt load board? I don't ever mess with those.
Can you?
Pneumatic Brit, F8 use sign language. DIY semi says you're 4'9". He's cutting out. DIY, you gotta pay this guy some more. He's got to get some better internet. DIY, how was the truck show? Can I get your referral? Would you go again? There you go, Fate. You're good now.
You can hear me now.
100%, perfectly clear.
Okay, I
DIY
want to address.
DIY says you're 4'9".
What? I want to address if I only had a brain.
Why don't you pull in a market that don't use load boards? Is that the
A,
one you're
I've
talking
never
about?
heard. A, I've never heard of a market that doesn't use load boards. And two, I haul 75% customer freight. I don't hardly ever go on the load boards. What I'm saying is when you do,
Mm-hmm.
the volume just isn't there. Like, or if the volume's there, they want to pay a rate that I'm not comfortable hauling it for.
Yep.
I don't know how else to say. Like, I have enough customer freight that I can stay busy. It's just even the customer freight's getting, the rates have to change. They're a business too.
So that's kind of the difference here as well too. Is like we do customer freight going out, but how I get home is spot market. So I get to toy with both ends. How did you land that so you could get customer freight coming back?
because I'm a genius.
Oh, DIY, you heard that, right?
I hope so.
So he says, hey, DIY says it was a good show. He's going again. I've never been there. We'll take off the hood veil and everything. Cash is probably going to kill me if he sees this. I'm a hood truck guy. I love 379s. I love 389s along those Pete's. I don't drive one. I love them though. I love the look of them. The customs that you can do to them things are amazing. They're beautiful trucks, right?
Absolutely. I agree.
I
100%
understand. I understand the business side of it though. Like cash makes 100% sense with that as well. But that is definitely something I would have wanted to go to. I never have been there. And I've always been curious to kind of, is it more of a, no matter where you go, you're constantly getting a sales pitch type of thing? Have you ever been there?
I've never been there.
Never been there.
No, I'm not cool enough to go.
I thought maybe DIY probably could have took you there and it would have been a business write-off.
Yeah, right. See, yeah, he could have. Yeah, no, it's just I forget where I left off, but anyways, keep going. Yeah, I'm 5'10", 190 pounds.
So that's what I was saying. I'm 6 foot 220, and they're talking about throwing tarps in the wind is a problem. That's a problem for me.
I did it for 13 years.
Yeah.
Like I know how to do that part of it.
I would say that's definitely that is definitely the one thing of flatbedding that turns everybody away is having to throw tarps. Some guys don't even carry tarps because of it.
Right.
Let's see. Cadillac Jack. I'm a company driver. I just don't like delivering to retail. It takes 10 different jackasses to show me where to unload. Plus, they can be after hours at 10 p.m. Okay. Cheap freight hauler. I told the dispatch service that I had a refrigerated flatbed last week. They hung up on me.
So yeah, if I only had a brain, like, so livestock has load boards.
Yes.
Fuel has load boards. Propane has load boards. I get his point. I get what he's saying. More of a specialized thing where you might get in with a farm that you can haul all their cattle and stuff like that. Like I fully get where he's getting at, but there are load boards for that stuff. I'm trying to think of what the big one is. It's load something. It's all agricultural stuff or like dirt work too.
That's one thing I've never done, and I've wanted to do it, is hauling livestock. It seems like a cool thing to do. And I would ask if I only had a brain too. It looks like he does that. How much deadheading do you have?
Well, so I got a friend.
I don't think there's a market to pick up 20 miles from where you drop off.
I have a friend that does it, and
Okay.
he does pretty damn good, to be honest. And I've gone out with him before. Well, he's loaded pigs and he's loaded cattle.
Yep.
And the one thing that this is going to make me sound like a Sally, is like if the cow has a broken leg and can't move, like they just shoot the cow right there. Like with all the other ones still like in a line going in. Now it's not, I mean, it scares them, but like I couldn't do that. Like that's just, I know that's how I get my meat and my steaks that I eat, my hamburger. I'd rather get it from Walmart than actually see it, see a cow get executed.
So he says half his miles are empty, but paid round trip.
Yep.
So you
like
probably make pretty good money on your way back.
He probably does.
Although
and you see those cattle guys.
Every truck I've seen doing it is doing 85 though. You want to talk about throwing money out the stacks?
Yeah.
I
don't know enough about it. It's not something that I would want to do.
Yeah, I've always just been intrigued by it. There's a couple of videos I've tried watching on YouTube, but I think Nevada mentioned hauling cash. Have you ever seen that channel?
No.
He's a guy out of Texas. He has his own couple trucks. He was doing RV transport for a while. Now he has a couple trucks, and I guess he did our cattle hauling before too. And I guess a lot of that, all that is running around scales because you're heavy in one state, and the next state you're legal. So there's nothing you can do. You got to bypass the scales in those states, and so you're constantly just outlawing. And
I see his next comment too, and I feel like I know what he's saying. Like, and I feel like if I'm saying something counterproductive, or like I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. If I only had a brain, I'm not complaining about money. What I'm saying is I'm super successful being a reefer hauler, and I see an opportunity to bring in even more revenue to my business by maybe putting my trailer in the parking spot for 6 months and running a different type of trailer. Like, that's what I'm saying. And that's what businesses do. Businesses find ways to continue to grow based on like the market that they're in. How am I any different than that?
No different than the carrier that I run with. That's why we have flatbed, step deck, RGN, Conestoga. We have all different types of trailers to meet these customers' needs. We're hauling air units and stuff, and we can't be tarping these air units. You get damage on them. Those go in Conestogas, or they're just going open deck with the plastic wrap on them. I agree 100%. It's not going to hurt anything for you to be able to do other ventures.
Right. And once again, if I only had a brain, if you're still like, I am not disagreeing with you at all. It's just, like I said, man, call me a wussy, call me whatever. Like, I don't want to bring a cow or pigs to like their freaking death. I would rather just get it and wrapped up from the butcher shop. Like, I'm a Sally.
Yeah. Yeah. I've also seen some sketchy. Them bulls start moving around back there. I've heard they can throw you into the ditch and all kinds of stuff. You know. Cheap freight hauler. Can anyone tell me a fuel load board? Now I
Yeah.
think you know some fuel haulers, don't you?
Yes. And I'm trying to remember what the load board is. There's a load board. Oh, load, what is it? Bulkloads.com. Bulkloads.com. That'll have agricultural, it'll have fuel, it'll have livestock, it'll have all that stuff on there. I believe that's the website.
Well, I better not put it in the chat then if you're not sure. We might be sending some people some goofy links.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. What did I just say?
Huh? Bulkloads.com?
Yeah.
You might get the wrong channel on that one there, bud.
Get your mind out of the gutter. No, that's the right one. Maybe they took, I'm looking at it. I don't know if they might have taken fuel off of it, but fuel was on it before. But you can also just, you could find a company to lease onto.
Yeah, I hauled fuel locally around the Madison area, but none of that was. I was a company driver for that, so I couldn't help you on that either. It was just, I was paid to show up at 8:00 in the morning and run my whole 14-hour shift out as much as I could.
Here's a load in Minnesota. It requires a tanker with hazmat flammable material. That sounds like fuel.
Yep. DIY wants to know if this is a show that reviews hotel review channels. Well, I can tell you right now that you shouldn't give their Wi-Fi a 10 out of 10. It's glitching a little bit. Let's see. We'll give him a minute. DIY's his internet's catching up. So if I only had a brain, I wasn't saying you don't know how to make money. I was just saying giving you ideas until this world picks up.
Again.
You're getting better. You're coming in. It's coming in. I got a friend that is direct with Quick Trip hauling fuel, big bucks. It might be big bucks. I've been out of that game for a while. It's a little sketchy. I can tell you one thing. I was delivering, if you guys are familiar with the Dells in Wisconsin here, I would deliver to the gas stations. And, once you got the hose in the ground, you're dumping, I think it was like 8,000 gallons of fuel. You're pumping that in there. And I had a guy walk out of the fuel pumps towards me with a cigarette in his hand lit. And I'm sitting there, kind of like this. And I told him, I said, "Hey, buddy, get away." And he turned and he looked at me and he went like this, like he was going to flick his cigarette. He was going to flick his cigarette at my truck while I was unloading. So you deal with a lot of crap while you're doing that. It gets a little stressful. And the money was all right, but it wasn't amazing. I make more money now, even in a bad market. Pneumatic Brick, Quick Trip are the best truck stops. I agree. That's and in Wisconsin, they're huge. They're huge around this area. Looks like we lost Fate. Maybe he's going to reset and come in. But they're huge in this area, and I've noticed they are super cheap. So every time I'm around here, that's my main stop. That's where I go. I haven't noticed them too much farther out, like Minnesota, Illinois, Iowa. I think Iowa has Quick Stars or something like that. You good?
Yeah, but I'm going to bounce out and just watch you because this is unfair to your channel and all the people that are watching.
Oh, no. We're here for you. I did this for you.
No.
I wanted to get your take on kind of like what started this flatbed move, because it's not a move that is easy. It's a hard move to make.
Well, like I said, I did flatbed for 13 years.
So you're familiar with it.
I'm familiar with certain aspects of it. I'm not familiar with like coils or hauling equipment. I am familiar with hauling steel and drywall, shingles, lumber, things like that. So by no means am I like a flatbed hauler or anything like that. It's, I mean, if I spend $25,000 on a trailer, like I think I can recoup that in the time frame I'm thinking of doing this.
Big time. Super.
You know?
Yeah. And that's, I put a comment in your channel. You missed it at the time, but one of the things that I do is when I go into an area or shipper that if something I've never hauled, I look at the trucks ahead of me and how are they securing it. A couple of guys may do it a couple different ways, but it gives you some ideas on, okay, which way do I like the best? That's one huge thing that I do. It helps big time. How do you feel about Quick Trips? A lot of talk about Quick Trips on here right now. They should sponsor my channel.
The truck stops with a K. Are we talking the KWs?
Yes.
I love them. I love them.
Yes.
They're phenomenal.
I've noticed they are consistently cheaper on fuel anywhere around here.
Yep.
Do you ever stop at that one in? It's got the big
Medford?
semi. It might be it. It's got the big semi vertically on it.
Is that Medford? Yes, I do. Yes, I stopped there.
I've noticed that is the cheapest one around all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a great truck stop. DIY, hit the like button. Well, I'd love it if you did, sir. So yeah, I wanted to go on here and give you a chance to kind of explain it. I know your internet kind of sucks, but I'm trying to figure this whole StreamYard thing out as well. Mawston, he's got it right.
Mawston. Okay, yeah.
Yep. Chase Finn, I'm a slut for Quick Trip chicken strips.
Their pizza's good too, man.
You like their pizza?
I do. I guess when I'm stopping to get food, I don't eat all day long. So like when I stop, anything's good because I'm hungry. I just like that I can go in there and get real food.
Do you bring a bunch of food in the truck with you?
I do. I cook a lot in my truck. Is
that all rotten right now?
No, I brought what I could here to the room with me, and I threw the rest away.
Oh man. So that's one thing I've recently started doing is I got an air fryer in the truck. And dude, I make cheeseburgers. I make pizza rolls. You can make all kinds. You can even make cake in it if you wanted to.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It's nice. I've never had that before, and it's nice to have. I have a fridge in the truck, and it's got the little actual freezer slot in there. It actually keeps everything nice and frozen. That's little mini corn dogs and stuff like that. It's awesome. You just pull into a truck stop and fire that thing up, I mean, because how many times do we stop at the same truck stop and it's the same food? Hardee's.
Yep.
Arby's. It's like,
Arby's.
Yeah.
Burger King.
Yeah. How many times can you eat that before you just get sick and tired of being on the road?
Hence why I want to do flatbed. No, I'm kidding. Eat that stuff and then work it off.
I can give you this tip though. Cash is king. He's 100% right. I did that. I did that whole cost analysis on buying off of Amazon versus Iowa 80 truck stop versus Mighty Products, that MYTEE.
Yep.
Iowa 80 was by far the most expensive. For me to outfit 10 chains, 15 straps, corner protectors, it was like $2,500, right? Amazon, I was like 15 or whatever. And on that Mighty, it was like $893, I think what it was. So okay. It's crazy. And that's not even with, I think does he get a discount code for that?
I've never looked into buying any flatbed gear.
I would definitely. That's where I'm going 100%. I didn't look into tarps though. So I'm one of them guys. I'm not going to tarp if I don't have to.
I'll get my carrier to buy those.
It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. DIY sounds like I need to polish up my flatbed jokes.
It's just an idea. Like I said, I don't want people to think that's what I'm doing. It's an idea.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't at all. I would question. I have a hard time with dry van because of when I see their rates. I don't understand how they can do that. How can you run that truck for that cheap? By no means do I have a low operating cost, but even if I did, how do you get it that low?
Here's the thing. We just have to figure out how to operate. Like I said, once again, operate within the market that we're in. I know there's people that would say, hey, $1.89 out of that area is still above the like average over the last 20 years. And you can't argue with that because these people, the people that have been owner operators longer than me and have been doing it in all the highs and lows, I didn't experience much of that being a company guy for 22 years, right? Like I didn't have to experience the highs and lows. It's just right now, it doesn't seem like I need to do that. I don't need to run for that. You know what I mean? Because there's other ways to generate revenue. I just might have to change the trailer.
Now, Paul Larkin brings up a point too. He says, what kind of mileage are you both getting? I would suspect that your mileage would go down.
My fuel mileage?
Yes.
Well, probably. I would have stuff. I would have stuff. What do you call that? Like catching the wind.
Yes.
The
oddball loads. Right now I'm getting like 5.5 right now. I'm not getting awesome fuel mileage, but I just got out of pulling a Conestoga from out to California and back, 40,000 pounds each way. And I don't have an air dam on top of my sleeper. So I've got, what is that, about 4 feet above the cab. That's just brick wall in the wind. It's not the best thing in the world, but do you have, does your internet, so I don't think any of us have officially seen your truck, right? He's getting a little choppy. So Paul Larkin, to answer your question, is I'm pretty sure Fate has. I just saw Nevada's post, and he is down 5.2. Yeah, I seen that as well. I seen considering possibly that bull bar that he put on the front. I'm not too sure about that. So that's what I was telling Fate the other day. I've drawn a 2017 579, an Aero truck, and I'm getting hood truck fuel mileage. So I eat it a little bit on flatbed. Cheap freight hauler. When I outfitted my flatbed, I compared between Mighty and U.S. Cargo Control. How did that turn out? I never looked at U.S. Cargo Control, but by far Mighty was way cheaper for the exact same products. He's still a little, Fate's still a little sketch in there. But as for Nevada Trucking and Trails, if you guys haven't seen his channel, he put on a monster, beautiful bull bar on the front of that 389. And I believe he changed some tire sizes as well. And sounds like he's down about a mile per gallon right now. So Fate says his miles per gallon is at 7.78 right now with winter fuel. That's amazing. I can get that when I've got about 10,000 pounds on the deck and nothing catching it. That's the most I've ever gotten was about 3,000 was about most I've ever gotten was about 3,000 pounds on the deck. I could get up to 9 miles to the gallon, and that was just creeping.
Yeah, no, I do. I can get. I've hauled from like Minnesota to Pennsylvania, and all the way up to like Highway 80. I've gotten 8.9 miles per gallon.
Dude, that's amazing.
And that's running this. I have done nothing to my truck.
But you have an automatic.
I have an automatic, and I have my truck is very like from factory, very aerodynamic.
So that's what I was saying when your internet was cutting out a little bit. I don't think we've formally gotten an outside view of your new rig, right?
Nope.
You planning on doing a video on that?
Well, people keep telling me I need to, so yeah, I guess I will.
Everybody wants a tour, you know?
Yeah, because it's new to me. I mean, it's a 2019, but I left a Mac CXU 613 that, you know, I did a lot to that truck to get my fuel mileage up in it, and I couldn't break a certain threshold, and it was just time for a change. I wanted more. I wanted more in my fuel. I wanted to save more in my fuel. And the fact is, the fuel savings so far that I've gotten in my truck is paying my truck payment. So I got better fuel mileage, and in turn, I got, a free truck almost.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like it's much more comfortable of a truck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I've never had a Mac or anything like that.
Yeah,
I've never even had an International.
No, it's a great truck. The Mac's a great truck. And my truck, I had a dollar amount I didn't want to go over. And I had, like I said, I spec'd it for what I wanted in a used truck. I didn't need big fuel tanks. I wanted smaller fuel tanks than what I had. I wanted to weigh less. I wanted better aerodynamics. There was a lot that I thought about. I wanted a different type of engine. I got that Cummins, talk about torque, 1,715 pounds of torque.
You got 100 more than me.
There you go.
What's your wheelbase? Do you know?
I do, and I don't remember right now because that's all part of the video. Like criminy.
So if you're not going to make a video, we're going to get it out of you one way or another,
Yeah.
I got like a 240 wheelbase. I got twin 135 tanks. Plus I've got the biggest def tank I've seen on the truck out of any trucks like mine. So I'm carrying around quite a bit of weight of fuel when I'm zipping around, but Cheap Freight Hauler says some things were cheaper at U.S. Cargo Control, but most was cheaper at Mighty. Yeah, that's the way to go. So the company that I'm leased to, we pay a rental fee for equipment. So we have a guy that goes, a shop guy, he'll go preload trailers for us. If I pick up a trailer, if it's strapped down with 8 straps, I take 8 straps out of my truck, put them in our little storage room, and then I just haul out with it. So everything's tied down, ready to go. You just got to make sure it's, all tight still.
Nice.
But I pay a fee for that, right? It's a weekly fee to use that equipment. For me to get all my equipment, that's what I was looking into, is what is it going to cost me to just be done with that? That's definitely a way to go. So if you get serious about it, I would seriously think about going that route. I've even toyed with the idea of like marketplace, but then you don't know what you're getting, but they used to get around 7 with a Volvo 780 and flatbed hauling steel and lumber. My 680 in van is normally north of 9 miles per gallon. Man, you guys are putting up some serious mileage. I can't touch that. Not loaded.
Yeah, I'm loaded. Like what I just shared is loaded 45. I mean, weight plays a role in this. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah. Dry vans typically, well, I should be careful. Reefer freight, you're always at, between 40 and, we'll say 35 and 43,000 pounds.
Yep.
It also matters on where you run. You know, if I stayed out of the mountains, I'd be in the high 8s, maybe 9 miles per gallon. I mean, my truck's life miles per gallon is like 8.75 or something like that.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
the life of the truck.
Wow.
Um,
That is good. If you only burn, do you instead of yeah. Well, it's about that time.
all right, man.
I just wanted to give you a chance to kind of go over it. You know, it kind of sucks that you're still stuck out there, and your
I
internet's your internet was great the other day. I don't know whoever you paid off that day. I'd do it again.
right,
You
right.
know.
Well, let's keep exchanging some emails. Like I said, I think I want to I want to do what we just did, only kind of on an interview style with you on
Yeah,
my
I'm game.
channel.
Yeah,
You know, I appreciate all the information. Like I said, just an idea, just floating around an idea that just to be diversified in what I do. You know what I mean? I think
yeah.
that's important.
You can't go wrong. You know, the problem where you can get into it is investing the money, and then if you're not going to use it, was it worth investing the money? You know, but like you said, if you can get a good enough deal on a trailer, you can get your money back like that. You know,
Right.
so yeah, hit me up if you want. You're starting to cut up again. We're just going to end it here. It's good talking to you. Thanks for joining.
It's
And
only
everybody go head over to Fate
one.
Trucking's channel. Like and subscribe if you haven't. Obviously, you should have by now. He's way bigger than I am. But definitely a good channel to check out. Thanks everybody for joining. If you can, hit the like button, and we'll try to do some of these when we can. Like I said, tomorrow morning we're leaving out. We're going, and we got 4 air units on a flatbed going over by Washington, D.C. And then sounds like we already got a load of steel coming right back to Minnesota. So it's going to be a quick turn and burn. And that should end it by the end of the week. We should have March numbers. So we'll do a video on that. We'll go over what we made for March and all that. But like I said, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and I'll catch you guys next time.